Your task will not be an easy one. Your enemy is well trained, well equipped, and battle hardened. He will fight savagely. But this is the year 1944.
Hello, welcome to Part 4 of Tutorial 5. This video covers the first 3 steps of the Airborne Drop Procedure used in Segment 2 of the Airborne Assault Stage. Now, just one reminder, at times this series presents a lot of information on screen. Please make frequent use of the pause button to make sure you don't miss anything. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get started. The airborne display is generally divided into 4 sections, one for each airborne division, and the extended scatter track. Each division section is further organized into boxes containing all of the airborne units that arrive on the battlefield map during a given turn. The UK 6th Airborne's section, for example, has 4 boxes. The leftmost for the June 6th AM game turn, the one to the right for the June 6th PM game turn, and 2 additional boxes for units that arrive via the Naval Transit System. The leftmost box is further organized by drop zone. This section for DZK, this one for DZV, and the last for DZN. Within each of these sections, below the drop zone counter, there are from 1 to 3 paratrooper battalions, and for each of them, 3 units representing their companies. The box for DZK of the 6th Airborne contains 1 battalion and 3 companies. The box for DZV, 2 battalions and 6 companies. And the boxes for DZN and all other drop zones, 3 battalions and 9 companies. Now, these one-step companies, when face up, are normal units for all intents and purposes. However, when flipped over, they become fog of war units and are subject to several special rules that will be discussed in this and later videos. As you can see here, once flipped over to their fog of war side, they all share the same symbol and are indistinguishable from each other. The fact that neither the Allied nor the German player is allowed to look at their hidden side is a key aspect of the Airborne Assault Stage, and it's extremely important that every effort be made throughout Segment 2 to avoid revealing these units. Alright, for Segment 2, the Allied player conducts the Airborne Drop Procedure for all of the units and leaders scheduled to land by parachute during the June 6th AM game turn. In other words, all of those found in the leftmost box of each division section of the airborne display, not labeled glider. For the UK 6th Airborne, that's all of these companies and this unit. For the US 82nd Airborne, it's all of these companies and these 2 leaders. And for the 101st Airborne, it's all of these companies. Any remaining units will land by glider in Segment 4 or in other game turns. Okay, for the purposes of this video, I've divided the airborne drop procedure into 4 steps. For Step 1, choose a drop zone, take all of its breakdown companies from the display, place them on a smooth surface that will allow you to easily shuffle them around, and flip them over to their fog of war side. This creates a pool of fog of war units which you'll add to in Step 2 and draw from in Step 3. Note that their parent battalions are left on the display where they will remain until at least one of their companies is able to reorganize. Good. For Step 2, count the number of battalions scheduled to land at the drop zone you've chosen. For each of those battalions, you'll roll a d10 once on the unit scatter table. If you've chosen DZK, which has only one battalion, you'll roll a D10 once on the unit scatter table. If you've chosen DZV, which has two battalions, you'll roll twice. And if you've chosen any other drop zone, which all have 3 battalions, you'll roll 3 times. Okay, now roll a 1d10 for each battalion, and for each roll, cross-reference the resulting number from 0 to 9 with the column corresponding to the drop zone's status letter, determined in segment 1 using the DZ status table. Note that these numbers in brackets in the top line of the unit scatter table are not used in segment 2 and should be ignored for now. Alright, for this step, ignore all NS, S1 to S6, and ES results. The only results we're interested in are these numbers in brackets, which indicate the number of dummy units that will be added to the pool of fog of war companies from step 1. If there is no number in brackets in a result, no dummy units are added to the pool. Next, total the number of dummy units from the 1 to 3 die rolls, turn them over to their fog of war side, and mix them in with the fog of war companies from step 1. Give them all a good shuffle, but be careful not to flip any of them over by mistake. Until they are revealed later on, neither the Allied nor the German player should have any idea which are real and which are dummies. Okay, step 2 of the airborne drop procedure is fairly complicated, so let's walk through an example using the results for DZN from the previous video. DZN contains 3 battalions, so you'll roll 3 times on the unit scatter table and cross-reference all 3 rolls with the column corresponding to DZN's status letter of B, determined during segment 1. Good. Now your first roll is a 5. Cross-referencing with the B column gives you this result. Ignore the S1 and look at the number in brackets, which indicates that 1 dummy unit will be added to the pool of fog of war units. Don't add it yet though, you still have 2 more rolls to go. Alright, your second roll is a 9, which, when cross-referenced with the B column, produces this result. Ignore the S3 and look at the number in brackets. It indicates that 2 more dummy units will be added to your pool, bringing the total to 3. Alright, your third and final roll is a 2. Like the first and second rolls, you can ignore the NS result. However, unlike the other 2 rolls, there is no number in brackets. This indicates that no additional dummy units will be added to the pool. So, in total, you will add 3 dummy units, 1 for the first roll, 2 for the second, and 0 for the third. Now just add the 3 dummy units to the pool, flip them over to their fog of war side, and shuffle them all together, being careful not to reveal any of their identities in the process. Good. Next, you'll conduct steps 3 and 4 of the airborne drop procedure for each fog of war unit in the pool. For step 3, choose a counter at random and set it apart from the others. Then go to the unit scatter table, roll a 1d10, and add the modifier, if any, that you determined for its drop zone using these factors in segment 1. Note that all units attempting to land at a given drop zone use the same modifier. Also note that if you did not record the modifier, you can calculate it now. Please refer to Part 2 of Tutorial 5 for instructions. Okay, now cross-reference the modified die roll with the column corresponding to the drop zone status letter determined in segment 1. For this step, ignore all numbers in brackets. The only results we're interested in now are NS, S1 to S6, or ES. For a result of NS, or no scatter, place the fog of war unit in the same hex as its drop zone counter, and then conduct step 4 of the airborne drop procedure. For a result of ES, place the fog of war unit on the extended scatter track at the bottom of the airborne display using the following procedure. Roll a 1d10. For a result of 1 to 9, place the unit in the corresponding box on the track. For a result of 0, place the unit in the US or Commonwealth Units Eliminated box, depending on its nationality. Do not reveal it. You won't learn the identity of eliminated fog of war units until much later. Now, going back to the unit scatter table, a result of S1 to S6 indicates that the unit scatters from 1 to 6 hexes away from its drop zone counter. Go to the scatter diagram. The hex in the center corresponds to the drop zone counter's current location. In other words, it corresponds to whatever hex the counter was located in at the end of segment 1. Good. Now, each ring of hexes corresponds to a result from S1 to S6. The first ring for an S1 result, the second for an S2 result, and so on up to the outside ring for an S6 result. So now roll 2d10 and look for the resulting number in the ranges printed in the appropriate ring. Once you've found it, place the unit in the corresponding hex on the battlefield map and move on to step 4. Please remember that the identity of all fog of war units should remain unrevealed throughout segment 2. If you happen to accidentally reveal one, it can be mixed back into the pool and a new unit chosen. Okay, that's the end of part 4 of tutorial 5. In the next video, I'll finish the airborne drop procedure and look at some examples to illustrate its mechanics. As always, if you have questions or notice a mistake, please let me know. All feedback is appreciated. So, thanks for watching, and see you in part 5.